Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to talk about Amelia Earhart's flight from Newfoundland and landing in Burry Port in South Wales. Today we're diving into a story of adventure, danger and one incredible woman, Amelia Earhart. But did you know that her first transatlantic flight ended not in New York or Paris, but right here in Carmarthenshire? June 1928, a small town on the south coast of Wales suddenly became the centre of international attention. Not because of royalty or war, but because a young American woman who just made history and landed right here in Burry Port. So Amelia took off from Newfoundland in a place called Trespassay on June the 18th, 1928. And it took them 20 hours and 49 minutes to reach Burry Port. Let's take a wander down to the harbour where the seaplane F.VIIb was towed into. In 1928, Earhart wasn't yet the solo pilot who would later disappear over the Pacific. She was part of a team crossing the Atlantic by air, something only done a few times before. And their final destination? Well, that was meant to be somewhere entirely different. The flight began on June 17th, 1928, in Trespassay Harbour in Newfoundland. A small seaplane, the F.VIIb, carried 3 people: pilot Wilma Stoltz, mechanic Louis Gordon, and Amelia Earhart as passenger and navigator. They were aiming for Southampton, but the weather had other plans. Cloud, fog and fuel concerns forced a change of plan mid-flight. After 20 hours and 40 minutes in the air, they spotted the Gwendryth estuary. It was safe, calm and just enough room to land. They touched down in the water just off Burry Port. Local residents watched in amazement as the silver seaplane taxied to shore. Imagine the surprise of local dock workers and fishermen. One moment, it's an ordinary day. The next, a transatlantic plane is floating into town. Crowds gathered fast. People rushed down to the harbour eager to see the famous aviators. For Earhart, it was overwhelming. She later said, "I was just baggage, like a sack of potatoes." But the world didn't see her that way. She was the first woman to cross the Atlantic by air. Newspapers hailed her as Queen of the Air. Within days, she was a global celebrity. Earhart returned to America a hero. Parades, press conferences and sponsorships followed. But deep down she wanted more. Not just to be a passenger, but a pilot in command. 4 years later, she made history again, this time flying solo across the Atlantic. But Burry Port would always be her first. Burry Port may be a quiet seaside town, but for one extraordinary moment in 1928, it was the finish line of a daring transatlantic flight and the spark that lit the flame of one of aviation's greatest pioneers. Amelia Earhart's story didn't end here, but it began in a way that connected this small Welsh harbour to aviation history forever. Thanks for watching, and please like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you all on the next one.